Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Game week 11 is almost upon us, so let's take a look at the best strategies and players going forward, transfer targets you don't want to miss out on, and my very own team selection this week. First of all, let's get this video to 10 likes, and as usual guys, we'll start with my Game Week 10 roundup. Another absolutely abysmal week for me with 31 points. I dropped down to 1.3 million, the first time I've been outside the top million this season. If you'd have told me at the start of the season the issues in my team were going to be the best striker in the world, quote unquote, the Premier League player of the season for last year, and historically FPL's best ever defender, I would have laughed at you. But unfortunately, that's what it's coming to. Hats off to anybody who moved to Salah and captained him. You really outdid the Haaland owners this week. Chris Wood continues to haunt my dreams with another return, and Solanke got an absolute haul out of nowhere. Despite the 1-0 loss, Raya still came away with 3 points after he made a few saves. Diego Dallo ended on 1 point as well in Man United's game against Chelsea. Trent with just 2 points means he's now a £7 million defender who's blanked 3 games in a row. And 8 Nuri managed only 1 point against Crystal Palace, drawing 2-2. Lewis made it a full house of blanks in the back four, with just 1 point after we found out that he wasn't starting the game. A huge mistake on my part, not playing Semenyo. I really don't know what was going through my head when I thought Lewis possibly coming on and playing 20 minutes was going to be better than a player that was guaranteed 90. Palmer came away with 3 points in Chelsea's 1-1 draw against Man United. He still managed to pick up a bonus point despite not returning. That just shows you how involved in the game he is. And if not for Morgan Rogers' goal, it would have been a week of full blanks. So thank God for him getting Villa's only goal in their 4-1 loss to Tottenham. And Mbeumo surprisingly had limited chances in their game against Fulham, and he was taken off in the 86th minute as they were winning 1-0 to try and shore up the game with another defender. It kind of bit Thomas Frank in the arse because they actually ended up losing 2-1. Another blank from Foden. He continues to be a terrible transfer in. Frustrating seeing he's still getting goals in the Champions League and creating chances for my captain Haaland, who uncharacteristically keeps missing them. Calvert-Lewin again only managed 2 points in Everton's loss to Southampton, and he actually only played 61 minutes when he was taken off. Anyway, Game Week 10 is certainly one I want to forget, so let's move on. And before we get into who I think the best transfer targets are in terms of players, I want to talk about a few fixture swings that are coming up. The first one is Wolves, and they play Southampton next, followed by Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, West Ham, Ipswich, Leicester and Man United. So they've got really good fixtures up until game week 17. I think there's a possibility that this might actually be the best fixture run of any team throughout the season. Despite Wolves' really poor start, there are still some players that I would consider putting into my team, in the likes of 8 Nuri and their forwards, Matheus Cunha and Strand Larsen. Man United also have a small fixture turn in game week 11 playing Leicester, followed by Ipswich and Everton. A word of caution though, if you are looking at Man United assets, I would make sure you've got some sort of bench cover for game weeks 14, 15 and 16 when they play Arsenal, Forest and Man City before the fixtures get good again. More of a short-term fixture swing, I would look at players like Dallo in defence as he's very attacking, or players like Garnacho and Fernandes in the midfield as they're probably the most creative. Moving on to my top 5 transfer targets in defence this week. And as I've just shown you with the fixture swing, I've actually put 8 Nuri at number 1. The fixtures mixed with the price at 4.7 and also the attacking influence really sells him for me. He's matching Guardiola on expected goal involvements per 90. And defenders under 5 million, he's one of the highest expected goal involvements. I've left Guardiola in number 2. Man City's fixtures are getting a little bit more difficult, but he seems to be scoring more goals than their striker at the moment, so still a good asset. In Game Week 10 there was a little bit of uncertainty about Gabriel's availability, but he proved in Game Week 10 that he started and played the whole game, so he's completely fit. A player that, if you've still got, I would definitely keep at this point. Although Trent has some of the best attacking data in terms of defenders, at 7 million, I'm starting to think he's not really worth it. As I said earlier, he's just had 3 blanks in a row, and having money tied up in somebody like this that isn't actually getting you any returns just isn't the right idea. I really think Ibrahima Konate could be a great option to move to from Trent, because if Liverpool keep a clean sheet, you still get those points. However, he's just under 2 million cheaper. The only reason I haven't got him in my list is because he actually did go off in the Premier League game with a suspected arm injury. He actually had it in a makeshift sling. But he started the game in the Champions League, proving that he's fit enough to play. Dalot has also managed to stay in my top 5 because of the fixtures mainly, Leicester, Ipswich and Everton next. But as we know, Man United have also got a new manager who absolutely loves to play attacking fullbacks, and I think Dalot could fit that role. I probably jumped on him myself too soon, but he's not a player I want to sell at the moment. In terms of the midfielders, and this is outside of the premiums by the way, I still think Mbeumo is number 1. I know he's had a massive price rise since the start of the season. He's gone up 0.9 million, but it's not too late to get him. He's a necessity for me. They've still got some nice fixtures, Bournemouth, Everton and Leicester, coming up next before they swing to some more difficult ones, at which point we might review having him. Semenyo's in at number 2 for me, again because of the mixture of the price and the fixtures. They've gone through their small little difficult fixture patch, and now they've got Brentford, Brighton, Wolves, Spurs, Ipswich and West Ham up till game 16. Not a bad run if you ask me, and a great player to supplement those premiums. Briefly spoke about Man United's fixture swing earlier, and that's why Fernandes and Garnacho both make my top 5. After a slow start to the season in terms of minutes under Erik ten Hag, Garnacho has now played 6 games in a row, full 90 minutes. Bruno, on the other hand, is still by far Man United's best and most creative player, as you can see by the data of big chance involvement per 90. He's bound to create chances in these fixtures coming up. It's just whether Man United can finish them. Gordon has snuck into my top 5 after his wonderful assist at the weekend for Isak's goal. Newcastle have some nice fixtures coming up. They've got Forest, West Ham and Crystal Palace in the next 3. Now, by the way, don't consider Forest away to be a green fixture. That's just what it says on the Fantasy Football app. But we could see Newcastle kick into gear during these fixtures. In terms of forwards, I've got Cunha at number 1. That might seem strange to you considering that Wolves still haven't won yet this season, but he's already got 4 goals and 1 assist this season, and he's the 6th highest scoring striker in the game. He costs 6.7, so he's kind of in that middle bracket, halfway between budget and mid-price striker. If you want to go for somebody even cheaper than him, I think Strand Larsen deserves a shout out as well. He's 1 million less, over 1 million less at 5.6, and he's also scored 4 goals and got 1 assist this season. At number 2, and I still can't believe I'm saying this every week, is Chris Wood, who's actually in a golden boot race at this point. He's a player that continues to frustrate people and managers that don't have him, but if you do, you must be absolutely loving life. I keep telling myself this can't carry on forever, and their fixtures do turn slightly now. They do get a bit more difficult. I personally can't stomach going for him because every week I just think I've missed the boat. Isak has jumped up in my ranks massively. He's now scored 2 games in a row against Chelsea and Arsenal, some pretty difficult teams. And as I said with Gordon, Newcastle's fixtures are getting a little bit easier. He seems to have found his scoring form again, and he's now only 14% owned. Considering he was over 50% owned at the start of the game, he's now almost a differential. I've left Solanke's data in the table because of his haul out of nowhere in game week 10, but I still don't think he's in my top 5 choices. Now, if you've got him, I wouldn't take him out for the next game against Ipswich. Ipswich are one of the worst defences in the league, but after that, I might consider moving to someone else. Visser comes in at number 4 because out of the budget strikers, he has the highest expected goals per 90 with 0.73. For me, he beats Raul Jimenez in terms of a player I want. The other sort of budget strikers that I would maybe consider would be Danny Welbeck, but certainly not this week as they're playing Man City. Brighton do have a nice run after game week 11 though. In game week 12 they play Bournemouth, followed by Southampton, Fulham, Leicester, Palace, West Ham and Brentford. But I'd also be concerned about the depth they have up front in terms of, we don't know when João Pedro is going to be back, we assume it's soon. They've also got Rutter and Evan Ferguson. So I can't really see him playing 90 minutes every game throughout December. The last player in my list, and he'll probably jump up even further next week, is Nicholas Jackson. Now, if you don't have him, not the week I would sub him in, game week 11, as they play Arsenal at home. But following Arsenal, they have Leicester, Villa, Southampton, Tottenham, Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth and Wolves up till game week 22. A really, really nice run of fixtures, and you might want to double up with him and Cole Palmer. Now we've gone through the players that I think you should target over the next few weeks, let's have a look at what my game week 11 team might line up like. I've got Rare in goal at the moment, but I might play Fabianski. Fabianski started the past few games for West Ham, and although they're not doing well, they are playing Everton. Dalot will stay in the team for Man United's home fixture against Leicester. We just played Leicester in the Cup, although it was their reserves, so I wouldn't look into that too much. Trent again keeps his spot for Liverpool's home game against Aston Villa. Again, just for the attacking returns, I'm not going to put a £7 million defender on my bench. Wolves are away at Southampton, so 8 Nuri stays in. And despite the benching, the back four is exactly the same as last week, and Lewis stays for their fixture against Brighton. Now, if I find out that he's benched again, I may have to make a decision on whether to play Van der Berg or actually just transfer him out. Palmer's yellow flagged for Chelsea's game against Arsenal, but I can't see Chelsea going without Cole Palmer unless it's absolutely serious. Semenyo is subbed in for Rodgers this week as Bournemouth play Brentford away and Aston Villa have a really tough fixture away at Liverpool. Aston Villa also are playing midweek in the Champions League and Rodgers has played limited minutes recently, so I'm going to go with the man that I know is going to play 90 minutes. And Mbuemo's a guaranteed star at the moment, and their fixture against Bournemouth is a favourable one for the attacking team, so he's in. Phil Foden managed to score a goal in the Champions League game midweek for Man City, and he's remaining in the team for their fixture against Brighton. However, this could possibly be his last week. And if I find out again that he's not starting because De Bruyne did make an appearance, then I will consider again taking him out. Haaland staying in the team despite his lack of returns and his price tag at the moment. I just don't think this is a week where I'd want to transfer away from him. He's got the captain's armband at the moment, but I will strongly consider actually putting that on Mbeumo this week. And my one free transfer will be to take Calvert-Lewin out. Now, I haven't 100% decided on who I'm going to be putting in yet, but as you saw from my top 5 choice forwards, Cunha was number 1, so I've put him into the graphic. I could also move to the likes of Visser or Danny Welbeck for the reasons that I spoke about earlier. So for certain it will be Calvert-Lewin coming out, but I haven't made the transfer yet. It's either going to be Cunha, Visser or Danny Welbeck. Anyway guys, that's it for another week. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel for more FPL content throughout the season. Check out some of my other videos and go and take a look at my new TikTok account under the same name, FPL Pinnacle, for more short form content. I'm wishing you luck for the upcoming game week and I'll see you in the next one.